After going down 3-0 and losing 11 straight games to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, some painful realizations are now looming over the city of Angels. The Lakers organization and fans alike can feel this pressure for change. So what's next for LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers? What's goody? It's your host Jay Rose as always, and the Lakers have just gone down 3-0 to the Nuggets for the second year in a row, and barring any change in how this series has been going, I assume the Lakers are going to get swept again. I had them winning one game, but I'm going to go through my series breakdown and what I think LeBron James by himself and what the Lakers should also do going forward after this series. Let's get into it. Over 90% of the people that watch my content are not subscribed, so if you're messing with the videos, please hit that sub button and the noti bell so you'll get notified every time I upload. But let's get back to the hoops. First up, I do want to get into my series breakdown and really talk about the patterns that I've noticed, not only just from this series or just the last two series that they've played together, but the last 11 games total that the Nuggets have beat the Lakers in a row. I've definitely noticed that the Lakers have started out hot in a lot of these losses and then ended up cooling off around the third quarter. And I don't really believe that they cooled off. Really what I believe happens is the Lakers come out, they play very aggressive defense. They're trying to punch the Nuggets in the mouth. They're trying to get a really big lead. But one thing with the Nuggets is that they're not really fazed by big leads. They're really not. You can see how stoic this team looks just as a whole when they're down. Nobody really seems to think that they're in big trouble, especially not against the Lakers. They have the utmost confidence against this team. You saw that in game 2 when the Lakers were up 20 in the third quarter. There was 9 minutes left. And honestly, the Nuggets didn't think that that was a problem at all. And then we watched them in the second half really just go down the floor, and it was just crazy stuff to watch, to be honest. It was so methodical watching them break that lead down in the second half, and honestly it took them up until the final shot to gain that lead. I'm pretty sure they led by like 2 points at some point in the fourth quarter, but either way, the Lakers were throwing jabs back. They were sticking in the game, and the Nuggets were just doing what they wanted to do, breaking the defense down completely. And that's a pattern that we see in all of these games, that the Lakers will start hot early. I feel like that's due to their athleticism and their defense. They come out with a lot of energy. They play really good defense. They're tight, and they get out in the fast break. They get a lot of easy buckets. When AD is aggressive and they are getting these fast break buckets, it opens up the court for him a lot. He gets to play a lot more one-on-one in the paint. But once that offense gets slowed, one of the worst half-court offenses I've ever seen, I must say. And it's a very stark contrast from the Lakers to the Nuggets, because the Nuggets half-court offense is a work of art, to be honest. They move the ball really well. You see guys like Aaron Gordon. He just had a 30-piece last night. He had like 30 and 12. And that's Aaron Gordon. You don't expect that guy to really go off, but when he's moving around, cutting to the basket, always in the right spot, they have guys like that. They're passing the ball really well. We already know about Christian Brown. Just looking at this team play, they're a cohesive unit. Watching them play in the half-court offense, Jokic being the hub, they can run screen and rolls with Murray. They can run opposite screen and rolls with Murray as the screener and Jokic as the ball handler. So I think that's just an interesting dynamic that they have there. They've honestly built this team up to a T. This is exactly what they needed for their two stars that they decided to put at the forefront. We already know Murray is one of the biggest playoff risers in history alongside Jokic. And then we have MPJ. You still have some other dudes that can come in and do damage. So I just think it's a very, very tough team to beat. And honestly, with the Lakers offense looking like it does, it's very just subpar. And that obviously has a lot to do with coaching. And I want to get into that next. So let's talk about what I think the Lakers should do next coming up in the season. For the Lakers, I think there's a couple routes that they could go. Obviously, the first route would be just running it back, which I don't believe is honestly the right choice, because you guys are a playing team, and I had a lot of faith in the Lakers going into the playoffs, and honestly, they've lived up to my expectations, because these are close bouts that they're having with the Nuggets, and I believe if they played a team like the Thunder, that they'd possibly be split 1-1 or 1-2 or 2-1, something like that. I don't think it would be a 3-0 kind of demoralizing series like it is right now against most other teams in the Western Conference. For the Lakers, I think this is just a terrible matchup for them stylistically. So I don't believe going into next season with the same roster is going to do you any good unless the Nuggets somehow get hurt. That's the only way realistically I can see you getting past this team at this point, the way this is constructed. So what you're honestly going to have to do is get new personnel again, which sucks because you can't get any chemistry doing that, or change your coach again, which sucks because you can't gain any chemistry doing that. I was a firm believer that Frank Vogel was a terrible coach for the Lakers. I didn't think his rotations were good. I didn't think his decision making was good. I didn't think he was a great play-by-play coach either. I think he was a great defensive coach, but that's really where it stopped. And he needed to get fired. They needed an upgrade. I believe that if your upgrade was Darvin Ham, you should have kept Frank Vogel. And it's very evident now that Darvin Ham is not a great coach. I've seen him or heard him out loud say in multiple different ways that he doesn't know what's going on at times. We've heard Anthony Davis out loud say he feels like the team doesn't know what's going on a lot of times. And that's a big red flag. And it should be a red flag to the front office. I'm not sure why the reaction when AD said that is to get upset at AD instead of really checking their coach, because that's the coach's problem. If your team feels like they're disorganized, they're all over the place, and they don't know what to do, that's when you pull out the clipboard and you draw up a scheme. It's not supposed to be the players' problem to come up with ways to literally dissect a defense on the floor. They're not going to be able to see all of that playing the game. That's why the coach is there, so they can give them a direction, give them a scheme, give them some plays. But when we come out of a timeout, Darvin Ham has the Lakers doing the same thing that they were doing before he called timeout. I'm just not seeing how he's a head coach in the NBA. I think he got thrusted in this position too early. I think he probably should have been an assistant coach at best, or maybe a specialist coach, because his defensive sets are also pretty good. But offensively, there's just nothing there for Darvin Ham, and it's very clear that he's very confused at times. So he absolutely has to go, in my opinion. I think that's no matter what you do this season, I think Darvin Ham should be off of your coaching staff. D'Lo is most likely going to leave, so you're going to have to search for another point guard. And I feel like all of this I feel like LeBron just shouldn't really be on the Lakers table for bringing him back this season, to be honest. I think you'd have to find a way for AD and LeBron to fit into an offensive set in order to make that work. You can't just let them run 1-2 ball and hope one of the role players comes up big, because I just don't think that they can do that right now. Not against a team like the Nuggets. And honestly, I feel like teams like the Clippers, Mavericks, and Timberwolves could give them some real issues as well, because their half-court offenses are also so much better than the Los Angeles Lakers that they will get lost in the sauce if in the latter parts of these games in the third and fourth quarters. So I just don't see this core working to the best ability at this point. And I don't think that's a bad thing. They already have a championship. They went to the Western Conference Finals, and the only teams that they've lost to in the playoffs are teams that have gone to the finals or the eventual champions so far. This year, they obviously haven't lost yet, but they're losing to the Nuggets, who are very likely to win another championship. So I don't think that this was a bad stint for Bron and AD, but I do think that they've probably completed their tenure together. They need to sign a big free agent. If it so happens that they go the route of getting rid of LeBron James, they need another free agent. They need a star. They need a Trae Young. They need a Donovan Mitchell. They need a star guard that is available, that's feasible for them to get, that they can fit into that offense, because I do feel like AD and another guard would be a great duo. They need some shooting, some consistent shooting. And they need to build a team of defenders and bigs around that team, to be honest. They need a team that's built cohesively like the Nuggets. I don't think they need a team that's so heavily reliant on LeBron James all of the time and so reliant on AD all of the time. I think they need role players that have IQ, can play defense, can hit threes, and make smart decisions. And maybe they won't have to do all of this the entire game. Honestly, there's an argument to be had that them running it back with a better coach next season could be beneficial. But like I said, I don't think D'Lo's going to come back, and that's just going to be a bunch of new problems that arise. And I feel like this front office, they're not the greatest with making on-the-fly trades and free agency moves. I think they need a lot of time to really process and go over a lot of candidates. So I don't think they're going to be able to replace D'Lo like this. LeBron should just go to whatever team drafts Bronny, to be honest. And if that's not on his radar, he should go to a team that has a good player or a couple of good players already with some potential to make changes in the offseason, that has money that can pick him up. Honestly, I wouldn't be upset if LeBron went to the Warriors. Steph's old, LeBron's old. Both of them are playing at best right now on their current rosters. Maybe them joining forces wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I think that would be pretty fun, especially since they're both playing well still at this point, and they're both still top 10 players, most likely, in most people's book. I think that would be a pretty decent tandem. I'd like to see Bron and Wemby, to be honest. I think Wemby playing with somebody whose IQ is that high, and this is Wemby's team. If LeBron goes there LeBron is going there to help Wemby and possibly take them farther with his experience and IQ and his skill, obviously. But I think that would also be really, really fun. Maybe Cleveland. I think Cleveland will also be a really, really good spot for him to go to. They already got D-Mitch, Garland, Mobley, Allen, and most of them are on pretty cheap contracts. I don't think Mobley got his extension yet. And their biggest weak link is LeBron's position. So you slide LeBron in at that 3, and I don't know who's beating Cleveland with that roster on the floor. So just some food for thought. Just some food for thought, but I absolutely don't think that this Los Angeles Laker team should come back as constructed next season. I just don't really see the purpose, honestly. Once again, like I said, it sucks because they're one of the better teams in the league, absolutely, and they've shown that. I don't think there's a lot of teams that are even going to be sticking it to the Nuggets like this or going up on the Nuggets in the first half by 20 like the Lakers did. But you guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you think LeBron should do? What do you think the Lakers should do? And I'll catch y'all in the next one.